Hey, it's some fire shoes that's been dropping this year. Y'all know we gotta talk about it, bro.
If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jadon Grundy. We talk about clothes over here. So today we're about to get into the best shoes that I've seen, or at least my favorite shoes of 2025. It's been a lot of them, but it's a pretty small list we got here. So we're gonna crack it straight off with the first one, and it's gotta be the Pharrell Adidas Jellyfish. Now, I kind of talk about these on my series I have on Instagram and TikTok called Cool Clothes I Found This Week. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably should, but on here is where I first talked about them, and they are just really fire, bro. Like, first of all, I believe they just released the first colorway. I think I want to say it's the white and orange pair. I could be mistaken, but I think they dropped on like the 23rd of like August or something like that, but I'm not 100% sure on all of the details of the drop, but I do know that that happened, and I know that a lot of people who at least got the seating had like this jellyfish bag, so like you have to pop it open with like, I don't know, a knife, some scissors, whatever you got to open up a bag. That just felt really cool to me, bro. So if you know anything about jellyfish, you know you can kind of like catch them, or like fish in general. Y'all know when y'all go get a goldfish, you can like catch that joint, or you can like put it in the bag when you go to like PetSmart or something like that. So I thought that whole overall creative direction of the shoe was fire, but the shoe by itself holds its own, bro. Like, this is probably one of the best Adidas that I've seen so far, at least something that looks a little more original. And I know some people are kind of like, oh, they just look like chunky Adidas, kind of like what Balenciaga did, but I don't know, I feel like they're a little different. But let's move on. Next on my list, we got the Nike Air Max Muse, and arguably this may or may not supposed to be on this list just because I usually talk about men's fashion, but I think these exclusively dropped for women, if I'm not mistaken. Like, every time I've gone to find my size, it either says women or the size only goes up to like 8.5 men's or something like that. Now, I don't know this as a fact, well, size wise. Like, there might be some colorways or some places that carry bigger sizes, but from what I've seen on here, I haven't been able to see a size that goes up past like 8.5. So if you have an 8.5 size foot, or maybe even like a 9 or something like that, maybe you'd be able to fit these. But they got some incredible colorways. One of my favorite ones is the all red, which I believe may be called like the habanero or something like that, but those are fire. They have like a black and silver pair, which are really crazy, and then Vanetta Carter also did a collaboration with them, and they're like white, green, and like maybe pink or something like that, but really fire. I think they had like gold tips and everything, so definitely a fire model of shoe. Next up, we got the Vans Old Skool 36 Souvenir, and this shoe is probably the most hyped Van I've seen in a while, and hyped for a reason in my opinion. So if you guys know the Chanel bag from, I forget what runway this is, maybe like 20, I don't want to say the wrong date, so I'm gonna just put it up here, but it pretty much is based off of this bag, and they executed this perfectly. I forget who the designer is, but maybe I'll put a picture of him up too. But yeah, he really smoked this collab, bro. And honestly, like, Vans have always been a solid staple shoe, but I feel like the hype kind of died off maybe after like 2017-ish. So this was a cool way for them to kind of be back in the mix. 4 on that list, and I kind of doubled this one because they kind of seem like the same, or not the same silhouette, but maybe a similar slim feel. But I have the Puma Speedcats, and I got the Puma Mostros on here. So the Puma Speedcats, we all know, have just been having a crazy last like 2 years or so. I think Puma in general kind of just has killed it with, as far as like picking cool things to align themselves with, as far as like people or brands and things like that. So I think that the Puma Speedcats have been one of my favorite sneakers to kind of put on as far as that slim silhouette goes. Now, obviously I'm more of like a boot guy if you watch my channel for real, but yo, the slimmer silhouettes are just killing it, bro. And I think that they just balance that baggy look very well. So they definitely got to be in there. I've seen some new collaborations and pictures of maybe like some dirtier ones or like beat up pair, because A$AP Rocky's been talking about it, and y'all know he's like head honcho over there at Puma. So I feel like we'll see a bunch of cool collabs as far as that goes. Obviously we see like the Balenciaga one with like the distressed logo and stuff like that, but I just think that they're gonna have a good run, and I feel like the Mostros are like also a pair that looks very good when paired with the right silhouette pants. So both of those are in there for me. For number 5, we have one that actually isn't out yet, I don't believe, and it is these Louis Vuitton derbies. Now, I've only seen one colorway of these. They do kind of have some different like sneakers that are also by Louis Vuitton that just look really good, but I specifically seen these derbies and I kind of been hooked on them ever since. So I really think that these are fire. Again, I don't know if this baby blue colorway is like the only one. I would assume it's not gonna be, just because Louis Vuitton is kind of too big of a brand to be making like one colorway. But I mean, hey, we never know. We'll see when the shoe drops, but this one is definitely up there for me. At number 6, we have the Lil Yachty Air Force Ones. Now, the Lil Yachty Air Force Ones they've been going crazy. Now, I'm specifically talking about this yellow and green and red colorway that everybody seemed to be able to get their hands on. Now, I think this is a really cool shoe. Now, I'm about to get open and honest with y'all, bro. I think this is a really great shoe. I haven't seen many good outfits with it. Like, it's not that you can't make a good outfit with these, but it seems like one of those things to where it's kind of like you have to let the outfit speak, or you have to let the shoe speak for itself. And sometimes I feel like people have just kind of overdid the random styling when it comes to these. Now, I know it kind of makes sense in that world, but I don't know. Like, I just think the shoe by itself is cooler than the outfits I've seen with it. Now, he did make a couple of other colorways. Obviously, we've seen the white one that felt very exclusive. Like, I don't know many people that even have that shoe, but there's been a couple of other ones that have surfaced as far as pictures. So we'll see what Yachty over there cooking, but this shoe as a shoe was hard. Next on the list, we have the Puma Coperni 90 SQR, and the 90 SQR, I want to say, stands for square. Like, these are very square toe shoes. Now, this is another pair of shoes that I'm starting to believe only came out for women, because every time I've tried to go find my size, it's always stopped at like a certain cap, whether that's like 8.5 or 9. Now, again, I could be wrong. But this shoe doesn't seem too accessible for people who got bigger feet, bro. Like, I wear a size 11, so oftentimes I'll be trying to look for things, and maybe if it's like a woman's shoe, maybe they got something that's like, I don't know, maybe they got a WNBA player that wants that shoe, so they made a bigger size or something like that. But every time I try to go find it, bro, it's cooked, bro. But the colorways are really fire. They have like black, they have blue, and I think they have a yellow, and they just look hard. So if you're a girl that's watching this, obviously the Muse and the Puma Coperni 90 square is definitely going to be something you can get. Now, next up is one that I kind of talked about a long time ago, but I really think that they're fire, and they're the Adidas Ballerina Bad Bunny collab. And they have, I want to say they have another one that maybe isn't a Bad Bunny collab. I want to say it's like gray or black or something like that, but the ones I'm talking about is them yellow joints. Them yellow joints so gas, bro. Like, I'm kind of upset I didn't buy them when I see it. Well, I'm not upset. It's one of those shoes where I really want, but when I think about how much I would wear them, I don't know how much I would wear them. So everything that I'm saying in this list might not be a shoe that I literally have, but I think the shoe is really cool and I have a lot of appreciation for it. So I think this is one of those shoes. Now, I might end up buying me a pair somewhere down the line. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but I'm not in a rush. But they are fire, you know what I'm saying? So don't go out there and buy them all before I can get mine. Yeah, don't do that. Next up on the list is more of a designer pair of sneakers, and it is the Marc Jacobs 72 spring sneaker. Now, the thing that I like the most about these sneakers, one is the silhouette, but two is the colorways they drop with these joints. Like, the colorways on these is so fire, bro. I like that purple one. Like, I don't know, the color combinations are really crazy. Do I know how many times I would wear this shoe if I had it? I don't know. Again, I'm not the biggest sneaker person, but I do like to throw on a little sneaker here and there. So this would be one that I would probably aim for if I was going to buy a sneaker. But yeah, these joints are crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Now, the last shoe that I have on the list is one that I also think is really cool in concept. I also think it's really wearable, and it's gonna be the Air Max 1000s. And these joints right here, bro, they just, they look like a 3D printed shoe. Now, I'm not 100% sure if the whole thing is 3D printed. I might be able to do my research. Hold on. So I just looked on my computer and they are 100% 3D printed, which is actually crazy. And while I'm looking at this, I'm seeing a bunch of different colorways that I didn't see. Now, the first one I had seen is this kind of like oatmeal colorway. And that joint instantly caught my attention. But they also have a black pair, and I'm also seeing some surfaces of some red pairs, bro. But honestly, this seems like a pair of shoes that, like, especially if it's 3D printed, they could just make a ton of different colorways. I'm also seeing blue, gray, and orange. So that joint like has so much potential. I'm kind of curious of what you guys' thoughts are on 3D printed shoes and just where sneakers are going and heading for the years to come. But yeah, these are pretty much all the shoes that I think are really cool right now. If I should do another one of these with like a boot specific breakdown, let me know. But other than that, man, that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you subscribe and like this video and share it to somebody who loves sneakers, gang. I'm out. Peace.